Hello everyone, this is Lamed Sane of LSWAT apps, and in this video let's see how we can add users to our CMS. Okay, so up until now we've been creating pages anonymously and unpublishing them and doing all sorts of stuff, but we do not have a user which associates which we can associate with pages. For example, if a page has been created, we want to set which user created that page. Okay, so but before we can do that, we need to add user functionality to our application. So first of all, let's go to our editor and let's add another folder there. Now all this folder here is pertaining to pages, but we're going to add another one called users. So let's create that function folder users, and in there let's create another page called add, wherein we're going to add users. All right, so right at the top of this page, let's open up our PHP tag, and then let's require the header function here. So require once, let's go underscore dir, and then dot / we go one step back and just do includes / header dot php. Okay, so we're gonna just duplicate that and just change this to footer dot php. So right in the middle here, we're gonna have to block this page because we don't want people accessing it when they not logged in. So let's say block page. Okay, so I'm gonna just close this here, or actually just do this, remove PHP because it's two PHP statements. All right, so I'm just gonna open one here. All right, right in the middle here, let's create an h2 there that says add user. Then I'm gonna open another div, and in that div there I'm gonna just output some PHP error messages. So let's say echo return page error. Okay, so next let's open up a form, and the form will not have any class, and action for it will be process add .php, and the method is of course post. So let's open up another div here. Let's give it a class of form group, so that bootstraps now styles it nicely. So say label div, sorry, actually a label, and the label will be for username, and then it's gonna have a username here, and let's create an input with a type of text and a name of username and an ID of username. You can leave this empty, or you can just remove the value here. Okay, so I'm gonna copy that many times because a user will have several properties. So a user will have first name, last name. Okay, so to keep it simple, let's just create a username, first name and last name, and finally we're gonna create one just for the submit button. Okay, so I'm gonna remove this label here because the submit button does not need that. I'm gonna change the type to submit, and the name as well. We don't need all of those. Let's just change the value to create user, and then we're going to give it a class of btn and btn primary. Okay, so let's change this username to first name, since the user will have first name, and then let's do this first name as well. Okay, let's change this to last name, change these ones to last name as well. Okay, all right, so now let's create process add. Actually I made a mistake, should not be process add, should be process add. Let's create that page that processes this form when it is submitted. So new file, process add.php, and right at the top of that we're gonna have to require our config and functions file. Okay, so require dot / includes config. I'm going to duplicate that and change this to functions. Okay, so next let's do some processing right at the bottom here. So you will have noticed that we did not add a password field here, and the reason for that is because when the system is initially deployed, we do not want users to be registering themselves and giving them so what's going to happen is the super user, that's the first user that we have in the system, will be able to add other users to the system, but when a user is newly added, his username here, which is the email or whatever he set, will be the same as his password. So we're gonna do create a property in the post array here that will be password, and this value will be a hash of the username. So we're gonna say $_post password equals to password hash. This is a PHP function which you can use to hash passwords. Normally people were using MD5 and SHA-1, but those are no longer secure due to today's processing power. Okay, so I'm not so sure about SHA-1, but just to be safe, when you're using a modern PHP version, use password hash, because that's what's recommended these days. Okay, so we're gonna do a hash of $_post, and then we're gonna hash the username, because the username will be set from the form, and you're gonna have to pass in a constant here called password default, so that you have a strong password. Okay, so now let's say if create user, and then we're gonna pass $_post. If the user has been created, header location to the users list. Okay, page, so /users index.php, and this will give us an error this for now because we don't have this page yet, but actually let's create it. New file index, and for now let's just put the h2 users list, just so that we don't have an error. Okay, so I'm gonna come back here, and if the user was not created successfully, we just do a header and then location and /users /add.php, and then we're gonna pass it an error property there in the query string equal to couldn't create user. Okay, so next let's implement this create user function. Okay, so let's go to includes functions.php, and right at the bottom just gonna say function create user and then data. Okay, so next let's first let's get the PDO. So PDO equal to db get connection. Okay, so SQL will be insert into users, and then let's put our string around this, insert into users, username, password, first name, last name. Okay, and the values will be username, parameter, password, parameter, and the first name, parameter. We're doing all this for security because we're not passing values exactly in a SQL string when using PDO. Okay, so always do that as best practice, but you already know that, so I won't say that again. All right, so next let's create a statement. Statement equals to, after preparing, so PDO prepare SQL. Okay, so inserted equal to statement and then execute. Okay, let's pass it an array, and the array will have username, semicolon username as the key, and the value will be data username. Okay, let's duplicate that many times, just change these. So next will be password, and then the next will be first name, and the next will be last name. Okay, let's just remove this comma here. So next let's return inserted. Okay, all right, so now let's go to our our browser here and refresh this, but we don't have a create users in the header. So let's go to our header.php and add that link there. Right, so right after create page, we're gonna do our create user, and instead of pages, we're gonna change this to users. Okay, so let's go back to our browser, refresh, you can see create user. So now I go to that page, it says call to undefined function start session on line 1. So let's see what that is. Includes header.php. Okay, so let's see start session. Apparently, probably we do not include functions. Okay, so require once. Before adding the header, we're gonna have to require the config and require the functions as well. Okay, so that error is being brought about by that. So when I refresh now, we have the username, first name and last name, but the styling is a bit wrong, so that means we made a mistake somewhere. So let's add the class of form control to the labels. Okay, not the labels, the input styles. So I'm just select those. So let's say class equals to form control. Okay, let's come back here, refresh. Now everything is styled properly. So the username, I will make the username to be, let's look at what we already have as users. So we have one called Lamin. So I'm going to change my username to Lisa this time when we're creating. The first name will be Lisa and the last name will be Green. Okay, so Lisa Green. So I'm going to create a user with that name. So when I click on create user, unexpected require statement on line 3. So let's check what that is. On the process add for users, line 3, it says require includes function. So what's the error? It's saying unexpected require. Okay, so I forgot to close this with a semicolon. So now when I refresh, actually let's go back and I'm going to just create that again. So now it seems that everything worked fine because we've been redirected to the users index page. Let's go to our database now. Now refresh. As you can see, we have Lisa there. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back and log out, right? So now let's try to log in with you, Lisa. So remember, if we created a new user, the user will have a username and the password set the same. So let's say Lisa and then Lisa. When I press enter, now we're logged in with Lisa's credentials. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this tutorial video wherein we created a create user functionality to our application CMS. And I thank you for watching. I will see you soon in the next video. And if these videos are helpful, please subscribe to my channel and share the videos so that others can benefit as well. And there's tons more tutorials coming on the way, so stay tuned. And once again, thank you for watching. I will see you soon in the next video. Cheers, bye bye.